It's been a great 2023. I visited over 200 ghost towns and profiled them on this channel. And so here's my countdown of the best 10 that I could find. It was tough to narrow it down to 10, I can tell you. And but it was sure a fun little exercise to do it. So let's go ahead and get started with number 10.
We're starting out our list at number 10 with Rush, Arkansas. Rush is an old mining town. It's great to visit because the buildings are all authentic and haven't been really touched. It also has a lot of historical things to check out. They have a little walking path that talks all about the history of the town and what used to be there. And great town to visit in Rush, Arkansas. Number 9 is Trading Post, Kansas. Trading Post is the oldest settlement in the state of Kansas, dating back to 1825. And this was a fun video because I got a tour of a variety of places by someone who lives there in Trading Post, and she did most of the talking in the video. So for once, you weren't listening to me talk, but a lot of fun visiting Trading Post. Number 8, Luckenbach, Texas. This is the first video of my year. I did New Year's in Luckenbach, and it's got a lot of history, obviously, with country music and the Waylon Jennings song, Luckenbach, Texas. And I had a fun night going to a concert and exploring all around the kind of town. It's more of a place to just go and listen to music nowadays. Number 7 is Beaconsfield, Iowa. It's the second smallest town in the state of Iowa with 15 people, and is the home of the first Hy-Vee store, and one of our more recent astronauts is from the tiny town of Beaconsfield. And it was a really beautiful little town, obviously a lot of history, and in my smallest towns in Iowa list is one of my definitely favorite ones I visited. Number 6 is Toyah, Texas. This was on the 10 smallest towns in Texas list. This came in at number 9 with 61, and it was interesting because it was so much larger and it had such a large amount of space that the town covered, and tons of abandoned buildings. Interesting old cemetery there, and the school in the middle of the town was a thumbnail in the picture for the video. Number 5 is Elmdale, Kansas. This is in Chase County, where there's a lot of great old towns, and this one kind of stood out because there's so many old buildings right in the downtown area like that, and only a population of 40, but it still is an incorporated town and just off of US 50, so very accessible for anyone to visit. Number 4 is Langtree, Texas. This is way down on the border with Mexico. In fact, you could see across in my drone shot across over to Mexico, and very historic town, obviously with its geographical location down there in the southwest Texas border. But a lot of old crumbling buildings, but it was well noted, and you could learn a lot about the town by just walking around and checking it out. Langtree, Texas. Cairo, Illinois, it comes in at number 3. This one, some people might say isn't a ghost town because there's still 1,700 people that live there, but it's lost 90% of its population, and it has the most incredible amount of abandoned buildings I've ever seen. And when you lose 90% of your population, and it was like 16,000 people, you can imagine how many empty buildings are around town. It's just kind of a crazy experience to visit Cairo. Number 2 is Locke, California. This is a Chinese ghost town from definitely way back in the day when a lot of Chinese immigrants were in California, and this was a kind of cross between a ghost town and a historic site. The whole downtown is a historic landmark, but it was really, really great place to visit.
before we get to number 1, like I said, it was hard to narrow it down to 10. So here's, I guess, the best of the rest in no particular order. Since this is the last day of the year, December 31st, and the last video of the year, I just want to thank everyone. Before I get to the last video, I'd like to thank everyone for coming along and following this channel. We had 11,000 subscribers added to the channel this year. That's great and very exciting. I really, really appreciate it. And looking forward to doing more of the same in 2024. I'll talk about that in another video. But without further ado, let's get to my favorite ghost town of 2023.
Cisco, Utah was my favorite ghost town of the year. It was on my US 50 trip, and it is everything that you would want in a ghost town, with abandoned buildings and interesting history. Movies were filmed here, and one lady at the local store that'll tell you all about the history, and you got some souvenirs as well. So definitely my favorite ghost town of the year was Cisco, Utah. Hey guys, what you doing?